And CNA senior Korea correspondent Lim Yoon-suk joins us now from Seoul. Now, she covered the Sewol tragedy 10 years ago. Yoon-suk, I believe you are at a memorial for the victims that started not too long ago. Can you just give us more details?
Well, yes, I am. I'm out here outside the Seoul City Hall where there is a memorial service going on right now. And in fact, this is only one of the memorial services that have been going on here in South Korea for days now. Since the weekend, there have been several events here to commemorate and remember the victims, but also a reminder to South Koreans about what happened 10 years ago. Now, here, if you can see behind me, many of those attending here are wearing this yellow ribbons. And this yellow ribbons really just represents what happened here in South Korea 10 years ago. Now, in the beginning, the parents were telling me 10 years ago that they had tied the yellow ribbons in different places related to the Sewol ferry sinking because they wanted their children to come back home safely. And so at that time, those yellow ribbons represented and had that message. But 10 years on, it's something that Koreans remember and Koreans know. If you ask anyone here out in South Korea what that yellow ribbon means, they all know that it was related to that Sewol ferry and is a reminder of those who died, a reminder of what happened 10 years ago. Now, here in South Korea today, a lot of the schools and a lot of the government officials here also attended similar memorial events. And in fact, some of the schools here throughout South Korea held this 1 minute silence to remember those victims, since we know that many of those victims were from high school students then. And so, you know, it is a memorial day here for a lot of South Koreans to remember what happened 10 years ago.
Now, Yoon-suk, it has been, 10 years since the disaster. I mean, but for me, the image of that sunken ship, it's still haunting me. I can't imagine what it is like for Koreans. Clearly they haven't forgotten the pain, have they?
No, they definitely haven't, and I haven't too. And as you said, I mean, those images were just so strong, and it still remains vivid in the minds of many Koreans. And also for me, as you said, I did cover this extensively 10 years ago. And I remember that morning when we saw the first news, and there was a news alert out saying that there was this, a Sewol ferry, a ship that was sinking. But very soon after that, they were saying that everybody on board was alive. And I think it was around noon, when people were going out to lunch. And they all, we all had this sigh of relief saying that they were all rescued. But not too long after that, then we were getting all these alerts about how the sinking ship had passengers inside. And that was when we started seeing, vivid images, those strong, very strong images of the ferry sinking. And, for us, for CNA, we were covering it then. And I remember how we were, in the beginning, when we heard that they were all safe, we also decided, yes, it wasn't worth going down. But afterwards, it was where we had to go and cover this. And in fact, we had to travel all the way to this area called Pengmok Harbor, which was about 6-7 hours away by car from the central Seoul where we were. And this was a place where, way down in the southern island of Chindo, it was somewhere where a lot of, even maybe the locals might know about it, but not even the South Koreans knew much about it. But that being the furthest place from the mainland South Korea was where the victims' families, the media, and everybody were gathering so that we could cover this, because this was happening in the middle of the sea. And for CNA, we were there for weeks, for about more than 10 days covering this. And, I tell you, one of the things that I really remember about that coverage was, the dead bodies. I think, I've covered a lot of stories, but it still remains with me about how many dead bodies I've seen, and it was really difficult to see the bodies in bags coming in, and the parents having to go and identify those bodies to see if it was their loved ones. And so those memories really came back when I was covering this story during the last few days. And I'm sure, talking to a lot of South Koreans here, they say that 10 years have passed, and yet it is something that is just so vivid, and they don't think they will ever forget.
Well, thanks so very much, Yoon-suk, for sharing your personal story with us. I will leave you to attend the rest of the memorial.